Naval Legends. In this episode, watch Yamato, life and death of the legendary battleship. By spring 1945, it became clear that only a miracle could save Japan from defeat in World War II. The land of the rising sun had lost virtually all its naval and air forces, and US troops were already landing on the Japanese islands. On the morning of April 6, Japan's legendary battleship Yamato sailed off to fight her last battle. The last bit of hope the Japanese possessed rested with this steel giant, the largest and most powerful battleship of the time.
That naval operation in the Pacific, dubbed Tenichi-Go, Heaven Won, was a dangerous mission. But the faith in Yamato was almost religious, and the Japanese believed luck would go hand in hand with the ship.
The history of battleship Yamato began 10 years before the ship's legendary last mission. In October 1935, Japanese engineers put together a first draft of the famous naval giant. Unlike the Americans, whose ships were limited to a size that could pass through the Panama Canal, nothing restricted the Japanese from building ships of a large size and displacement and arming them as heavily as possible. Japanese designers set out to make battleships powerful enough to outmatch all existing foreign counterparts and any ships that would be built in the upcoming years.
The production facilities behind me were the Kure Naval Arsenal in those days. Its dockyard saw the birth of battleship Yamato. Her keel was laid in 1937 and the ship was completed in 1941. Yamato was the heaviest battleship in the world. Back then, the total construction expenses amounted to 130 million yen. That would be over 1 trillion yen, $8 billion in today's prices.
Initially, Japan planned to build a total of 4 Yamato-class ships. However, the Pacific War began, and after completing the second ship, Musashi, Japan stopped building the third ship, Shinano, and never started the fourth one. Eventually, Shinano was converted to an aircraft carrier.
Yamato is the ancient name for Japan, meaning great harmony. Strict secrecy was maintained throughout her construction. A high fence of mats surrounded the dockyard. All engineers swore a solemn oath of non-disclosure, and the workers going in and out were compared with their photos. Japanese shipbuilders certainly had something big to hide. Total displacement, 72,808 tons. Length, 863 feet. Beam, 128 feet. Draft, 35 feet. Armament, main battery. 3 turrets, each having 40 SK Mod 94 guns. Caliber, 18-inch. Secondary battery. 2 turrets, each having 3 Type 3 guns. Caliber, 6-inch. Anti-aircraft artillery, 12 coaxial Type 89 guns. Caliber, 5-inch. 50 triple barrel and 2 single barrel Type 96 automatic cannons. Caliber, 0.98 inch. Air group, 7 seaplanes, reconnaissance planes, and spotting aircraft. Armor. Main belt, 11 to 16 inch. Main turrets, 7 to 26 inch. Conning tower, 12 to 20 inch. Power plant, 4 Campon turbines and 12 Campon RO boilers. Power, 154,000 shaft horsepower. Maximum speed over 27 knots. Operational range, 7,200 nautical miles at 16 knots.
Yamato's key features are her main turrets, each having 3 18-inch guns. The guns could fire shells weighing almost 1.5 tons with a muzzle speed of 2,600 feet per second. A gun turret, including the barbette, weighed 3,000 tons. It could contain over 150 men.
Yamato's main turrets were guided by a fire control system consisting of a director that provided parameters of fire, rangefinders, and electromechanical calculators, a form of early computers. It was a state-of-the-art system for the time. Lack of fire control radars for engaging surface targets was compensated for by top-notch grouping of salvos. This gave the Japanese firing capability on par with that of the world's leading navies. The ship's secondary battery consisted of 2 turrets, each having 3 6-inch guns. The guns featured excellent ballistic characteristics and could penetrate the armor of a typical cruiser. However, their rate of fire was pretty low. When commissioned, Yamato had 6 coaxial 5-inch anti-aircraft guns for long-range engagement, plus short-range anti-aircraft artillery consisted of 8 triple-barrel 0.9-inch cannons. The number of the AA guns was constantly built up during the war.
The 5-inch anti-aircraft guns and the 0.98-inch guns had different ranges of fire. So if an enemy aircraft flew into this gap, neither of the guns was able to effectively intercept it. Furthermore, the 5-inch guns had relatively low traverse speed and poor elevation and depression characteristics, while the 0.98-inch guns failed to fire at the declared rate of 14 rounds per minute if the elevation was high or low.
Yamato enjoyed the heaviest armor in shipbuilding history. Its US analog, battleship Iowa, had armor that was on average 4 inches thinner. The armor belt of the Japanese Giant formed a citadel that covered slightly over half of her waterline length. The most protected part was the ship's conning tower.
The weapon systems became literally giant. The Japanese built a super battleship that was like 10 or 15 others put together. But the problem was that it did not pay off. You can build one Yamato-class battleship, but she would still be destroyed when facing 2, 3, or 10 US battleships. There are still such characteristics as mobility, quantity, quality, salvos per side.
Yamato was commissioned in late 1941. In her first mission, the Battle of Midway, Yamato served as the flagship of the Japanese combined fleet. During the battle, on June 4 through 6, 1942, Yamato did not fire a single shot and was used only as an HQ ship.
The Japanese military command was definitely saving their two best battleships for an upcoming major battle against the US fleet. As a result, Japanese seamen started to feel disappointed with their flagship. They even made up a saying that the world's three most useless things were China's Great Wall, the Egyptian Pyramid,